Sam Zhao is a professor of Chinese foreign policy and East Asian international relations at the University of Denver. He joins us there with more. Welcome to our show. So, Sam, how would you describe cross-strait relations at the moment? Are they the lowest in a long time?
I think so. It's the lowest, especially from the political perspective. Since the election of 2016, the political communications have been cut by the Chinese side because of the DPP government does not want to recognize so-called 1992 consensus, one China with different interpretations. The DPP has their own political objectives. It is in its sense, independent party. And the president of the Taiwan, Tsai Ing-wen, she has her own beliefs in the Taiwan's future, and also she has her supporters pushing her toward direction that she cannot accept the Chinese side of the one China principle. So the political relationship has been at a very low point. But economically, as you talked earlier, and also culturally, the communications and the exchanges have continued. The China side has made every effort to lure Taiwan's business people to do business in China and also make them successful, giving them national treatments, and also made a lot of preferential treatments to the Taiwan people trying to work in China. In fact, Taiwan's economy now has a lot of problems, and the opportunities in Taiwan have not been that many. China has continued its economic growth. So a lot of opportunities have come up. In fact, in my own personal experiences, I met a lot of Taiwanese students and also professionals, including professors. They cannot find jobs in Taiwan, so they have gone to China. So the Chinese government has been very successful in this case, using economic ties to put pressures on the Taiwan's government, Tsai Ing-wen government, to come back or go back to the Ma Ying-jeou or the previous administration's position.
And Professor, what about China's new global influence? How will that impact relations? You know, we have the Belt and Road, you mentioned the economy, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. How is that affecting relations?
Yeah. I think the balance of power in both economic and the military sense has shifted to the China's favor. In fact, I went to Taiwan for the first time in 1990. The economy in China was far, far behind Taiwan. I was one of the very first mainland Chinese background students from the US went to Taiwan. We were very, very impressed by Taiwan's development. In that context, we were very suspicious or were not sure if Taiwan people would want to go back to unify with China. But today, I think the situation has changed completely because of, for example, in economy sense, over 5 provinces in China has their GDP economic size larger than Taiwan. So the Chinese side could use overwhelming economic pressure and also military pressure. The balance power in the military sense has also shifted to the China's favor. So China could use all those enormous pressures to force the Tsai Ing-wen administration to come to China's term. But I don't know how much those kind of pressures will eventually make things happen in China terms. The Chinese government really have to buy the minds and hearts of the Taiwan people, because I go to Taiwan very often. In fact, just 1 or 2 months ago, I was in Taipei. I can see a lot of people don't have many knowledge or thinking of China, and don't have knowledge about what's going on in China. So China really have to make efforts to help Taiwan people to understand what is China's position, what has developed, what has changed in China, to make those identification of the Taiwan people with China possible. So that's, I think, has a long way for the Chinese government to go.
All right, thank you, Sam Zhao in Denver. We appreciate your time.